Hello, hi everyone. It is Atia here at Booking with Atia, and we are in another vlog project. Yes, we are. I am one of the co-hosts for NetGalley November, hosted by the lovely Nicole from Dusty Book Sniffers, and I wanted to document my process. Just like going and really focusing in on some of these NetGalley, why am I looking over there? Some of these net galleries that I have. If you don't know, NetGalley is a website for book reviewers, book influencers, bookish content creators, librarians, things like that, to get early access to e-copies, early access e-copies, yeah, to new releases or upcoming releases. They recently, within the past like 2 years, added the feature where you can also get advanced listener copies, so advanced copies of the audiobooks or ALCs. And yeah, me, like a lot of other people, you request all these books, and then all of a sudden you have a very long list of NetGalley books, and your ratio is abysmal, and then you just feel like it's impossible to chip it down. But I am making a concerted effort to have most of my reads during the month of November be from my NetGalley shelf. I have a lot of already released books, including books from like 2 years ago, that I want to get to finally, and that's my priority. My priority is, and you'll see this when you see the bingo board, my priority is these like backlist titles that I just want to like clear out. So there are 3 different ways to participate in NetGalley November. Well, I guess by the time this comes out, I don't know if I'm going to do like weekly NetGalley November vlogs or have it be all one long vlog. I'll see how much reading and content I have. But yeah, Nicole does have an announcement video. But basically there's 3 different ways. You have 2 different bingo boards that you can choose from. One of the bingo boards is prompt based, and one is like a fill it in yourself with your like what's already on your shelf. And you roll to find out which book you're going to read. And then there's also like a sheets and ladders version of a board. I'm going the route of the blank bingo board, and I filled it in with 36 titles off of my NetGalley shelf. You might be able to see like the icons that I have. So if it has a headphones icon, that is because I either want to borrow the audiobook from the library, or I have the ALC or the advanced listener copy. But either way, I'm going to be, if that book comes up, listening to it via audiobook. If it has the icon of a book next to it, it means that I actually own a physical copy of that book. And I can choose whether or not I'm going to read it via ebook or read it via physical book, or a mixture of both. With a lot of the... and this is the trap that I fall in. Well, not the trap, but just this is how I end up here. A lot of the books that I get sent physically, the publisher also sends me a NetGalley link. And so I add it to my NetGalley shelf because I'm like, oh, okay, I can also read this via ebook, and then I can add it to my ratio, blah, 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 blah. So that's how I end up with a lot of crossover between it being on my NetGalley shelf and me also having a physical copy. I actually earlier today started having like a weird sudden migraine, and I was gonna just like lay in bed and possibly listen to an audiobook. So I actually rolled already for my first audiobook, and I do have the footage of that happening. I had to like roll 3 times to actually get a book that was an audiobook. But before we talk about the book that I rolled for, here's my bingo board. Right, 36 different choices. I'm very excited about a lot of these books, and I'm excited to finally read a lot of these books and just have them like at the forefront of my mind. It wasn't as audiobook heavy previously, but then I realized that I had quite a few ALCs in my NetGalley shelf that I just keep forgetting about because NetGalley is not my primary audiobook source. It's the same way that I forget about books that I own in Libro FM because it's not my primary source of audiobooking, I should say. Libby is. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to swap out some books. Like it was like 13 audiobooks that I have in NetGalley. I'm going to swap out a lot of these titles for audiobooks. And so now I think the board is more evenly balanced. I'm like pretty sure it is. It's more evenly balanced between audiobooks and reading with my eyeballs, whether that's physical books or books I have only the ebook. All right, so let's talk about the book that I rolled for the audiobook. I ended up rolling, I think, a 6 across and a 5, I think, a 5 down, or let me just go here and see what it is. I end up rolling a 5 across and a 6 down. Is that how that works? I think something like that. And I ended up with Tiananmen Square by Lai Wen. This actually came out this year. Came out in June. I'll just read like the Storygraph preview. Tiananmen Square by Lai Wen is a captivating read for anyone who appreciates. Okay, that actually doesn't tell me anything. I'll read the blurb first. What's in bold? An epic, deeply moving coming-of-age novel about young love and lasting friendships forged in the years leading up to the Tiananmen Square student protest. Oh, okay. It takes place in Beijing, 1970s, working class neighborhood. Okay. Oh, drawn from her own life. Lai Wen's novel is mesmerizing and haunting. It is a lengthy audiobook. It's 15 hours and 21 minutes. I'm sure I'm not going to read it at 1 time speed, but that's still a lengthy audiobook. I do want to roll for my physical / ebook read. It's not November yet, but I just like to have, I keep looking over there. It's not November yet, but I just like to have things preset. It is October 30th, the night of October 30th. All right, so I have my D6. And yeah, I don't have like one of those things you can like put the die in or whatever, but it's okay. All right, hopefully I can actually get a physical book or an ebook and not have it be like last time where I was only getting the opposite of what I was looking for. Okay, so I got a 1. Can you see that? Maybe. So 1 across. Okay. I'm not even going to continue because 1 across, that whole column is audiobooks. Just the way that it worked out. So I'm not even going to, we're going to start over. We're going to start over. Okay. So we have a 5, which the 5 column has a nice mix. Oh, and another 5. Okay, 5. Ooh, okay. I've been wanting to read this. This is one of my most anticipated sequels. This is Loka, which is the sequel to Maru by S.B. Divya. This is science fiction. It's queer, it's futuristic, it deals a lot with like climate change and genetics and things like that. And I think, did I give the first book 5 stars? I think so. So I've been really looking forward to this one. So yay, very excited. Let me change this to currently reading. And yeah, we're gonna just see how this goes. All right, hello. I finished Tiananmen Square like an hour or so ago, and I told myself that I was gonna give an update when I got to like the 50% mark of this book, and then the 50% mark came and went, and that was the end of it. I read this book in 3 days. I started on the 1st, finished on the 3rd, and this was good, guys. This was so good. Yeah, I have notes, of course. I wrote some notes, but basically it reads like a memoir or a set of vignettes, but it's very clearly a novel. Like, you know that there is a set destination that we're going to, and I knew nothing about the Tiananmen Square protest, like absolutely nothing, and this book does a good job of showing just like the political climate, the social climate that created the circumstances that led to that famous protest. And I do plan on looking up more about that, like separate from the book. But this conveys the naivety, hope, and curiosity of youth in a familiar yet respectful way. It is an adult novel, but it is very much a coming of age. Like, we meet her when she is in middle school, and we watch her grow into college age, young adulthood, and there's an innocence there. We see that innocence kind of shattered, and I love the way that the author portrayed youth and the awkwardness and the fear and just the difficulty of going from like prepubescent teen into young adult and dealing with your own like mental things and your own social relationships, as well as the relationships and dynamics within your family as well. It's a beautifully told story that holds deep reflections about mother-daughter relationships and the complexities within that. The relationship between Lai and her mother is it made me want to scream, and you get some intro, or like you get some look at to why her mother is the way she is, especially when you take into consideration the fact that the grandmother is in the picture, and you see the dynamic between the grandmother and the mother. And so you have 3 generations of women who are just attempting to survive and live in a climate that is fraught with tensions. There's certain ideals for women, and it's 3 different generations just trying to figure it out. And it also looks at the meaning of patriotism. And what I really loved about this is that this book reminded me of the James Baldwin quote. What is it? I don't want to butcher it. But there we go. Here it is. And of course, he's talking about America. But I love America more than any other country in the world. And exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually. And I feel like that really encapsulates patriotism. And you can be in a country, love a country, be brought up in a country, and still criticize it and want to see it be better, either for your generation or the generations after you. And that very much is apparent and prevalent in this book. It also looks at youth and revolution and the idea that so many social political movements are started by the youth, specifically on college campuses. Like, there's something about a college campus where you have these people who are in between childhood and adulthood. They are legally adults and they are in a place where education and knowledge is valued and critical thinking is valued. And that's how you get these movements, because you have people thinking in mass critically about the situations that they're in. And you see Lai deal with this because she's, you know, she was brought up one way. She was brought up to kind of like duck her head and not criticize the government or the country publicly, and because that's seen as being like a traitor and being Western and like being a spy or whatever. But she soon realizes that it's because she loves China and she loves her country that she has to critique it, and she has to be part of a movement that is trying to make it better. And I also loved how there's also a lot of themes about the subtle power of community, especially among the marginalized, like women, queer people, disabled people. There is something so powerful when those groups come together, especially on a college campus, and they're fighting for something bigger than themselves, but also for those small liberties that they need to live their lives authentically. And I found the protagonist, Lai, to be a hero in her own right. And I feel like she really is a representation or a foil of all of those people who are not necessarily the leaders or the face of a movement, but they are that silent power and force behind a movement. They are the people who enable the movement to get things done and enable change to happen. And I ended up giving this book 4.5 stars. There are some content warnings: self-harm via cutting, death of an elder, dementia, emotional abuse, toxic relationship, romantic relationship, as well as a toxic relationship between mother and daughter. But I gave this book 4.5 stars. This was a strong start. This really was a strong start. I'll put the bingo board here. And Tiananmen Square, I think, is like in the 4th or 5th column, all the way down or something like that. But yeah, hopefully I can get some other books to make bingo using Tiananmen Square. And we're actually going to roll for our next audiobook. Let me pull up. I'm not going to rearrange the camera. You're just going to take my word for it. I'm tired. I am going to get into bed. I am doing some morning sprints. There is a gap in the sprint schedule, so I volunteered for that. So I do need to get in bed so I can wake up in a few hours and be present and ready. Okay, so I got a 2. Okay, I'm just looking at like what's in the 2 rows and columns. And again, I'll put the bingo board there so you can also see like what I'm looking at. Oh, it disappeared. Come back. Where are you? And I got a 1. Okay, so if I go 2 across and 1 down, that's actually an ebook. So new. And if I go 2 down and 1 across, oh, I get it's a privilege just to be here. Which is nice because I was actually kind of eyeing that. I was like, I've been wanting to get to this since I was approved for it. So I'm going to key that up. That's going to be my next read, my next audiobook. And we're going to keep it rocking. Hopefully my next update should be about Loka, because I am 32% of the way through that book. I'm hoping to either finish it either later today on sprints or on Tuesday, because it's like early Monday morning, because it reads really fast, and I'm loving the story, I'm loving the writing, and I definitely want a physical copy for my personal collection at some point, because I am really enjoying it. But yeah, let me go to bed so I can be refreshed and ready for sprints in the morning. Okay, so I am 72% into It's a Privilege Just to Be Here, and it's Monday. I had morning sprints, and at the speed I'm listening to it, I'll be done. I have like an hour and 40 minutes left, so I was like, let me give an update on the book before I finish it again. This is good. This is really good. I'm really enjoying it. It's funny. It really highlights the absurdity that can occur in a private school, especially when like these are institutions that pride themselves on like fundraising a lot of money and producing the best people in society. But there's so much in that underbelly. Like there's so much racial tension and just like prejudicial tension. Is that even a word? I don't know. And how these institutions are not, their primary concern is not doing what's right. It's protecting their image. And protecting their image to the outside world and to potential donors and to potential parents, specifically potential parents who will become potential donors. And that when you have students in the school who expose something that is not right within the school, and they expose it in a public manner because they're not getting any recourse, then the students are then targeted and the students are quieted because of the manner in which they try to solve the problem. But yet the actual problem is not the biggest concern. It's the way that it was exposed. And it's just like, wow, like that is so true. Like I experienced that firsthand. And it's just like, that is the bourgeoisie. Like that is really like the upper crust of society. It does not, it's all about the image. It's all about the image. So I'm enjoying this. It's looking to be at least a 4-star read. The daughter in this is quite annoying. I do wish her mother would tell her about herself. But she's trying so hard to like not be like her mother, and it's just like, yeah. I hope we get a little bit more expansion on the character of the daughter Meg, because she has these valid points, but it's like what has happened that has made her feel as if she has to be a screeching banshee even with her mother. We'll see. I did not expect to finish another book today, but here we are. I guess I should roll, right? I should like roll for my next audiobook. Okay, so this is what the bingo board looks like right now. Keep in mind I am reading Loca. I'm currently reading Loca, which is right above Tiananmen Square, and I'm currently reading It's a Privilege Just to Be Here, which is like all the way to the left of the bingo board. So we're gonna roll. And I got a 2 at first. I'm just looking at like what is in the 2 column. Okay, so we have some nice contenders. And in the 2 row, we also have one more audiobook. So hopefully I get one of those 2 and 1. I feel like I got this yesterday when I did it. So 2-1 is The Dark Place, which is, so 2 across, 1 down is The Dark Place by Brittany S. Lewis. And that is actually, I have that as ebook. And 2 down, 1, oh yeah, I did get this yesterday because that's how I got It's a Privilege Just to Be Here. All right, so let's roll again. Oh, okay. I got a 1. Which, oh no. A 1, and then, oh, a 1 and a 2. Why does this keep happening to me? Okay, so 1 across, 2 down. Again, it's a privilege to be here. And if I do 2 down, 1 across, still a privilege, just a privilege to be here. I need to like get away from the 2 and the 1s. Okay, so I got a 6, which, oh gosh, it dropped. Okay, I'll take it. And it gave me a 2. All right, so 6 across, 2 down is a physical copy. And 6 down, 2 across is another physical copy, which I feel like I keep getting the same numbers. I wish I had, I don't know. I'm trying to see, like, do I have something I can like put it in to roll it? And I think I do. Okay. So this is the box that my black tarot cards came in, and this is what we will use to roll. That's great. Finally. I feel like that didn't even do anything. Okay. So I got a 1. Can you see that? Oh, it flipped and it made it a 3. So we have a 3 and a 1. 3 across, 1 down is an audiobook, The Curious Secrets of Yesterday, and 3 down, 1 across is also an audiobook. What does that say? With Love, Miss Americana. I'm leaning towards the YA one, which is With Love, Miss Americana. That's also in the same column as It's a Privilege Just to Be Here. So it ups my chances of getting a bingo on that column, which is a column full of audiobooks, which is nice. All right, let me look up what they're about. Okay, a woman's ambitions clash with familiar expectations in a captivating novel about generational secrets and self-discovery by best-selling author of The Candid Life of Mina Dave. With Love, Miss Americana, the young adult contemporary romance debut from Jane Iguro, sees a teenager move from Nigeria to America and navigate her senior year with the help of classic teen movies and a new crush, all while working through grief and the rigid expectations of her mother. Yeah, I think I want to go with that. Only because, like, I haven't picked a YA book yet. Or haven't, like, gotten a YA book yet. So that's going to be our next one. This is the the second day in a row where I'm being used as a napping pad. Yeah. It was so funny because today she actually... She literally, like, got on my desk and pushed against my chest with her paw. And I was like, why are you pushing me? But she wanted to lay in my lap. Oh. I love you. Yeah, I do. I would commit crimes for this cat. I think like people don't understand. Okay. I finished Loca, gave it 4.5 stars. Really enjoyed this book. Let me see. I'm just gonna read what I have in my notes because my thoughts are a little all over the place right now. Oh, okay. So it's very readable. The world building is sprinkled throughout, which is nice. And I liked how technically you could read this as a standalone, but I appreciated it as a follow-up to Maru, even though it follows like a different generation. There's nice pacing and stakes. It feels like The Amazing Race because she's like trying to essentially get around the world in a set number of days. And I appreciated Akshaya's journey with her chronic illness and her chronic disability. She has sickle cell disease. And prior to coming to Earth, she didn't have to worry about like major pain flare-ups, because where she was previously living, they had the technology to help reduce such things. And hers, because she like grew up getting the proper treatment for it, her body was not as, I don't want to say deteriorated, but her mother got pain flare-ups, even though they would live in the same space and had the same resources. But her mother had been living on Earth for like most of her life prior to this mega construct that they were living on. And so her body took some wear and tear until she was able to get the resources that she needed. So their circumstances were different in that way. But being on Earth, Akshaya has to reckon with the fact that like this is her body and how to manage that and take it day by day. And I don't have sickle cell disease, but I do have chronic illness and a chronic disability, and it is a day by day journey. It has to be like you mourn who your body used to be and what it used to be able to do. And I feel like that mourning process is new and fresh every couple of days, or every time there's like a really bad pain flare up. But I thought it was handled in a great way. And I also loved how those around her were so empathetic, and they made space for her body. And just, it was just like, okay, what can I do? And not, have you tried this? Or maybe you should do this, or things like that. Like wholly unhelpful comments that don't actually help a sick person who's writhing in pain. But it was just like, what can I do to help? And taking that initiative to do things to help her without being asked to. I love that. And we have her best friend, or as she calls them, her heart sib, Soumya. And the relationship between the two of them was beautiful. I loved the friendship. It's full of trust and communication and love, of course, but also respect. I thought it was beautifully done. Like I said, I gave it 4.5 stars. I was on Sprint when I finished it, so I rolled for my next book, and I got What Happened to Ruthie Ramirez, which I do have a physical copy of that book. Okay, it's like under all these books, but I took the dust jacket off anyway. I don't know if I'm going to do any NetGalley reading. It is a Wednesday, November 6th. It's the day after Election Day. And both of my books are contemporary and taking place in America. And I'll get back to them. I will, because they're quick reads. But right now, I want something fantastical. I want something fantasy. So I'm going to do some non-NetGalley reading, which obviously I'm not going to talk about in this vlog because this is a NetGalley vlog. But yeah, I'll check back in when I circle back around to some NetGalley reads either later today or tomorrow. I'm sitting outside because even though it is early November, it is still warm out. So I'm going to fully enjoy the perks of global warming and show you some book mail that just arrived. A few books. It says it's from Simon & Schuster. All right. So this is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El Motar and Max Gladstone. This isn't a new book, but I think is this like the 10th anniversary? It's getting reprinted, and it even has a little blurb by Ken Liu. It's getting reprinted. Okay, it's a 5-year anniversary because it came out in 2019. So yeah, I've always heard like really great things about this. It says a twisting sapphic time travel fantasy love story that never stops surprising. Cool. All right, so it's a short synopsis, so I'll read it to you. In the ashes of a dying world, Red finds a letter marked "Burn before reading." So begins an unlikely correspondence between two rival agents in a war that stretches through the vast reaches of time and space. Red belongs to the agency, a post-singularity technotopia. Blue belongs to Garden, a single vast consciousness embedded in all organic matter. Their pasts are bloody and their futures mutually exclusive. They have nothing in common, save that they're the best and they're alone. Now what began as a battlefield boast grows into a dangerous game, one both Red and Blue are determined to win. Because winning's what you do in war, isn't it? A tour de force collaboration from two powerhouse writers that spans the whole of time and space. Yeah. I don't know if one of these characters is BIPOC. I know one of the authors is, but that doesn't always translate to one of the characters. Yeah, I don't know. It's a quick read though. It's very quick read. It is 198 pages. Yeah, it's less than 200 pages. All right, and then the second book also says it's from Simon & Schuster. The Last Dragon of East by Katrina Kwan. These are both from Saga Press. So thank you. It's got a little beat up in transit, but that is okay. It says, inspired by the Chinese myths of ancient dragon gods and threads of fate, Katrina Kwan's dazzling fantasy debut is a propulsive adventure, perfect for fans of Su Lin Tan and Hannah Witten. At the spry young age of 25, Sai has led a quiet life, barely keeping the family tea house up and running while taking care of his ailing mother. But he's parlayed a not-so-secret gift into a side career. He can see the red threads of fate between soulmates, which lends itself nicely to matchmaking. Sai has never tried to follow his own thread, which is gray and fraying. But Sai's ordinary existence is about to be turned upside down when his mother's doctor sells him a pair of dragon scales, claiming they're a miracle cure. Sai is pretty sure he's being scammed. When the medicine actually works, Sai finds himself forced by his ruthless emperor into the search for a dragon thought long extinct. Thrown into the heart of a brewing war, he must face down terrifying challenges, both magic and mortal. And for the first time, he may discover who's at the end of his thread of fate. I love this. I also really love the artwork. It does remind me a lot of Daughter of the Moon Goddess, like the artwork of that, as well as the artwork of Immortal, also by the same author, Su Lin Tan. And then also it kind of reminds me of a magic steeped in poison. But yeah, that's the book mail. I'm going to read some manga. It is Friday, November 8th, and I have sprints in the evening. So I'm going to do, I am going to do quite a bit of reading before then. And yeah, I guess I just need to do that. I will check back in.
I ain't living for the moment. You see what's mine and I want it. Hungry like I'm Pac-Man. I'm Bruce Wayne and Batman. I'm Naruto with a Hanzo. Got a sharp mind like I'm Einstein. Plus I'm copywriting, so it's all mine. Check it for me, I'm in the sky.